Osmo.com from A to B. Here we are. I'm Andrew. This is Ben. We are going to talk about football primarily. A lot of stuff going on, buddy. How are your Thanksgiving preparations coming along? You got your stuffing recipe all figured out?
Yeah, but no one in my family cooks. So I come from a long line of non-cooks.
Not even remotely surprising to me.
Yeah, my mother doesn't cook. I can't cook. Significant other can't cook. It's not good. So yeah,
you were a lock to not be able to cook. I mean, I knew that anyway. But like one of your parents doing it would have been.
So they're getting stuff, and now, yeah, we don't do it. The Razzle clan is very small too. I'm an only child, so.
Yep. That makes sense. I'm from a very large sort of stereotypical Irish Catholic family. My mom's the oldest of 7 kids, and I'm the oldest of 18 grandkids. So growing up, it was just like 35 people at the events. Not going to make it home this year, which is kind of a bummer. I do love Thanksgiving. It's like Christmas without all the hassle, But I'll be around here. Got invited to a Friendsgiving. Going to do some things. We'll get into the food later. But man, funny slate this week. But holy crap, what a game last night, huh?
Yeah, Arizona State, Mississippi State went down to the wire. Are you not talking about the late night college basketball?
I don't know who that is. Is this the Maui, the Tournament of Champions?
They weren't even in there. This is like a reject tournament. I think it was in the Cayman Islands. But yeah, that was
so that you can just go directly to the offshore book, place your bet.
Yeah, that's how they roll. Yeah, my Bulldogs. It was quite a game. How about that Rams defense? Victory lapping that. Not that it did me any good. Like you would have thought that would have paid us off, but no.
Dude, having like triple the field on a pair of $2,000 punts that scored 4 touchdowns between them, and breaking even on the slate. Not something I would have expected.
Nope, I didn't do bad either, but it was – and we're not the only ones who are going to be saying this. You look at your lineups and you're like, wow, there's fire icons all over the place. That didn't really help. It was crazy. What a game.
Yeah, it was, super fun to watch. It's just, it's wild because we've talked about this a bit in Showdown. Like, it's somewhat viable even on main slates, but especially in Showdown, playing a defense against sort of an onslaught of the team – like, totally can work. Almost worked last night. The Rams got 21 points at $2,000, and we're not in optimal lineups. Gerald Everett got a pair of touchdowns at 2,400 or 2,200.
Yeah, the one killer that was frustrating, I thought there was no chance Sammy Watkins would have played. When they ruled him active, I took a couple stabs with him, but more importantly, I moved off some Conley because of that, and that was obviously a killer.
And yeah, that's what hurt in that game. Like 99% of the time that like Rams play or the Gerald Everett play are like, oh wow, that was awesome. Problem last night is there was an even cheaper guy who was more popular who happened to score 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and it was a weird game. It seemed like Gurley got nicked up early. Not that he was overly hurt by any stretch, but he was just, not in the flow of that game. Then he started to get going, but obviously a huge non-factor. And that was the killer. I had all those where I did have the good permutation. It paid up for Gurley.
Right. And I think the big knock, like I had a fair amount of teams with both quarterbacks. I thought they were both really good plays. I was not going to play Jared Goff without one of the 3 expensive weapons for him, right? Mm-hmm. And you needed what the optimal thing was Jared Goff with just Reynolds, like Cooks and Woods and Gurley all kind of underperformed. There was no way I was getting to that, so I'm not really like.
So he ran one, and it was, and I was happy. We both said Tyreek Hill. That worked out perfectly for me. I was underweight, and that hurt, but all my captain spots when I used him were him, and that was great. It was just it was fun. I admit I'm more of a. You know me, I love like 50 to 48 basketball games. It was exciting to watch.
You got a 50 to 48 football game almost.
Yeah, why not?
It was because I was looking at a certain point where it's like, what's the record all time? It was like in 1969, there was a 113-point game, which like when it looked like we were going to tie, there was a real chance. It was like even, it looked like it was probably like even odds to go 54-54 into OT. In which case, if one of those teams scores a touchdown to win it, then that's the highest scoring game of all time.
Crazy. Yeah, it was, and the flags. That's true. Mike and chat just said that at the beginning of the game, the Chiefs. It seemed their only defense was just causing penalties, which obviously is not a real thing. But
not great for Cooks and Woods either.
No, yeah, they were drawing penalties like wow. It was just.
They really got to do something about that for fantasy. Like, it's just the most...
Just like a +1.
It's the most tilting thing in the world when your guy's, like, you know, in good position on a 50-yard bomb, and then the defensive player just messes with him to break it up. You know, Brandon Browner style. It's just like, nope, not on me. It's like, well, the same thing happened, right? Like, as far as the game goes, the same thing happened. Like,
no, it's tough. But...
Yeah, 1 point or something like that. Just give me something. Make it a positive.
Yeah. But, you know, it was, like I said, fun. I didn't get killed, so I really can't complain. And we're going to see more and more showdowns. There's two smaller ones, and then there's a big one for Saints-Falcons. But we do have a 3-game slate, which I was a little worried about. But thank God nothing crazy happened in terms of DraftKings. They have normal, good-sized tournaments for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they do.
Everyone's hurt.
They do have 3, you know, like we talked about, there is the normal 3-game stuff, but there also are 3 pretty significant showdowns. The middle one is not a big deal, but there's a huge one for the
late one.
The late one is a normal size giant showdown, like Sunday Night Football kind of deal. Or it's actually the Monday Night Football size. It's bigger than the Sunday Night Football. But the first one is really big too. I think that's like 50 or 100K to first place. There's a showdown for Detroit and why is my brain Detroit and Chicago? Jesus Christ! I just stared at all of these games for the last like 2.5 hours trying to figure all this out. But yeah, wild stuff. The Chiefs and the Rams, and then also the Saints are just, you know, a friend of ours said this last night. It's just they're just playing a different game than everyone else on offense, and I think it's kind of nice that I don't have to get excited about the Patriots at all this year. Just there's no chance.
I'm not on that wavelength, but we will see. They do look just different right now. It's not. There's a long time between now and the playoffs, though. We'll see if these teams can sustain it. But it is incredible. They are playing a different game. No arguments there.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's so nuts to me that Mahomes made that many mistakes and they still scored 50 points.
No, I mean that is. I know we've been saying this forever, but that is Mahomes to a T in my mind. Yep. Like, he's incredible, and he makes also some crazy plays the wrong way.
Yeah, and that's why we've talked a lot this year about playing both sides of him, and that was the ultimate show of that. Because a defense cannot do worse than -4. That is the floor. If they give up 98 points, it's 4 against them. So if they give up 98 points and score 2 defensive touchdowns, they're still going to score 20 points over most of the time. So you can still get it done with a guy going the other way. And yeah, Mahomes scored. I get the captain versus regular mixed up, but he scored 50-plus regular points, I believe. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. He scored a ton of points, sort of the Rams defense.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably the best game of the year. Hard to imagine we get a better one than that.
Unless they meet in the Super Bowl, buddy.
Maybe.
I mean, that's got to be the favorite matchup, right? Or the Rams over the Saints still?
I don't think I think the Saints right now are our favorite inside track for home field. But again, this is not. I don't think that the way it looks, it's like, oh, they're both going to end up 15-1, and the Saints will get home field. I seriously doubt we see that.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is like when it really comes down to it, just Drew Brees is just a much better quarterback than either of those two. Like Jared Goff was actually quietly pretty bad last night. He missed a lot of open throws, and you know, he still got it done. But
yeah, Brees is great. Brees also, much like Goff, he, you know, what they do with Brees, he does a lot of very simple things, and he's incredible. He's playing the position just phenomenal. We'll see.
But
obviously
he can do the crazy stuff. And like Goff left a lot of points on the table last night. That's why Woods and Cook struggled. It wasn't really their fault. Like, they were open, and Goff just missed them a number of times.
No argument there. All right, well, as much as I'd love to talk about these normal teams, yeah, Saints Vegas favorite right now. Not surprised.
I'm just stalling because it's Detroit and Chicago, and then there's the Dallas-Washington game. Like,
we'll get into it.
I don't want to watch that.
I want that, and then we do want to talk, obviously, chat. We want to hear, your football takes. We also want to hear Thanksgiving takes. Most overrated Thanksgiving food. So drop that in chat. Drop us a like as well. As always, we appreciate
all that. Got to be negative, man. You know, we can talk about our favorites.
You want best Thanksgiving?
I just thought we were going to talk about Thanksgiving. I didn't know it was just like shit all over it. But
no, I'm not hating. I just, you know what? That's you drop whatever you want. Is Gurley injured? I don't think he's injured. It did look like he got nicked up last night, though.
Yeah, he missed like part of a series. That was the like, oh god, the slate's over now. Because if Malcolm Brown, I'm sure was 5 or 8% owned. Like if Gurley's out, like that's over.
He was only 2% owned. I had some Malcolm Brown.
Oh, really? And
I was just like, well, this could be okay. It looked like he got like pseudo horse collared, and I think he just got like nicked. But he was. I mean, they put him back, obviously.
John Krolikowski, I'm with you, buddy. Public's still undervaluing the Chargers. I'm a huge Chargers apologist. They manage to lose games in random ways all the time.
It's the Chargers.
Crazy. But yeah, I think the Chargers are, I don't know, the second best team in the AFC probably. If I had to, gun to head right now, put them all there, play neutral fields, I think the Chargers are number 2 behind the Chiefs.
I don't know about that, but I like the Chargers.
Folks
I've been on them. Yeah, it's like I said, there's a long time between now and the playoffs. It's as good as the teams are playing now, someone is going to pick up steam and be playing like this, at the end of December. So,
John Rios, can't forget about the Texans. I think you can forget about the Texans. They're fine, but it's like they've got some massive holes. So,
yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure they can really hang with these other teams. But it's been a good season for them so far.
All right.
Want to get into this? Let's do game by game because that's the normal format for the Sunday stuff. We'll talk about each position in there, but just one at a time. We have first thing, 9:30 in the morning or 12:30, depending on where you're at. We have the Detroit Lions playing their annual Thanksgiving game. They've been rebuilding since 1946 or whatever. That was a T-shirt I saw one time, and it made me laugh a lot. They were playing the Chicago Bears, hot off a big win against the Vikings, playing some of the best defense, maybe the best defense in the league right now. Should be a fun one. I don't know. Go. Let's.
Well, I was just gonna say, we want to get this out because Thursday's a madhouse. This game it's hard to break down because there's a lot of moving parts. So Carrion is out. He's got a knee sprain. That's gonna be. I guess he's doubtful, but it does not look like he's going to play. They got behind him LeGarrette Blount, Zach Zenner, and then obviously Theo Riddick. That's going to be a situation to monitor. Then the other one, this came, I thought, out of nowhere. Trubisky is hurt. I would say he's going to play, but it's something we obviously have to see. If he sits, then we got a whole mess on our hands with Chase Daniel. That's not a good situation for them. So injuries in this one is key.
Yep, it is. And I think even regardless of injuries, even if these teams were fully healthy, just the way they're priced at, this is where you're getting your value because the monster studs are all in the later games, and you're going to want to play them. And it's like, all right, when I go to build at first, it's like, wow, all right, Stafford, Bruce Ellington, Riddick, like got to jam them in, and then I can get to Kamara and Michael Thomas and Zeke and play all of that. Is that insane?
No, I mean I think this is one. Obviously, if you're leading after 2 games, don't count your cash. You might not even be cashing after that late Falcons.
Oh yeah. Save your money for that game. That's the
game. Yeah. This is just going to be one where, but we've seen this before. Like there's going to be plays in here. This is the lowest, in terms of. Actually, well, the other game's a 41 total. This is a 45 total. Bears -4, so that would lend itself to say Trubisky plays. If he sits, that line is going to drop. This is certainly not an appealing game. My first thoughts was, especially if Trubisky is a little banged up, could it be a Jordan Howard where they try to control? I know Snacks Harrison is there, and I know that does help the interior, but we've seen time and time again, guys are able to run still on the Lions.
Not lately.
I mean, McCaffrey was fine.
Yeah, he was okay. But...
And then who were they 2 weeks ago? Let me see.
They have not. They've really been good against the run the last 3-4 weeks. They still look bad on the season because
they
were
played Chicago.
Horrible before.
Oh yeah, wow! I forgot about this. These 2 teams just played.
Mm-hmm.
God, now we got to see this again. So sick. All right, 2 weeks ago, yeah, 11. Yeah,
That's all right. Maybe you can, you get in there, you start making the mashed potatoes, so you don't have to watch for a while.
Yeah, something about that. God, this is just such an ugly one. First, I mean, Slay is back. What do you think about these guys on the outside? You got, they seem to be doing it in different ways. It was Gabriel to an extent against the Vikings. You have Allen Robinson, who clearly, if there is a number one, it's him.
He got locked down by Xavier Rhodes last week.
He did, yeah. And now I'm worried. Slay is
not that good.
That good.
He's good, but he's not that good. And Xavier Rhodes, like I've mentioned this a few times, the way he plays is very different from other cornerbacks. Like he's a press guy, so he actually hits you when you come off the line. So if he is on, you're out of the play before it really starts. Like there's no chance to like get back and like you're just kind of out of it. So Rhodes can just kill a guy before he gets a chance. Slay, like you can still go and make plays against him, and yeah, he's really good. He can stop a lot of those plays, but like Rhodes, if he does his job right, like you're already kind of off your route, and quarterback's looking elsewhere.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm just like Eric Blunt last week. 7 carries, 1 yard.
Yeah.
Not efficient.
Okay, let's break down the Lions' sort of playing time scenarios, because that I think is the real interesting part here. TJ Jones had been their slot guy. I had him pegged for a huge workload last week that really hurt. He played mostly outside. He was out there a lot, though. He played more snaps than Ellington. It's just Ellington played in the slot, and then Theo Riddick only played 40% of the snaps, largely because he was not playing slot receiver, which is what he had done before. And so Ellington came in there, and Ellington was the guy who got all those cheap targets, but he did not even play that much. Let me bring this up.
He also got banged up in that game, Ellington. He got hurt in the middle of it. I don't know if he came back at the end. Believe he did.
Hasn't he always been hurt? Isn't that kind of his thing?
Yeah, but I mean, he was catching some balls, and then I did see him go down. I don't think it was anything serious. He's got a Q tag on him here, but the other dude was an inactive, I believe, right? Powell.
Yeah, Powell was a surprise scratch, healthy scratch. Didn't play at all. That bumped the TJ Jones projection for me quite a bit. Yeah, TJ Jones still played 69% of the snaps. Riddick only played 41.5% of the snaps. Ellington played half of them. How that workload broke down after the injuries to both Carry-On, who only ended up playing half of them. But
again, he got hurt too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
How that happened afterwards. Like, I don't think Riddick is not just going to slide in and get much of the rushing workload of Carry-On Johnson. He maybe gets an extra 2 carries, but that's not what you're hoping for with Riddick. With Riddick, you want you're hoping for 8 targets. I think that's certainly viable, and we'll see. I'm interested to see what ownership models start to think, because Riddick, if people are sour on him, like 4,200, there's an immense amount of upside there.
Yeah, Riddick obviously has the highest ceiling. To me, and this is more of a gut feel, I think this backfield is just a mess in the sense that I wouldn't be stunned to see Blunt, Zenner, and Theo Riddick all get like 5 to 7 carries, and that's how they do it. And it's like, they're mixing and matching because, I mean, we know that certainly Riddick is not carrying the ball 15, 20 times. I don't see that happening. And the way Blunt's been running, it's hard to imagine he does that too.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't really care about the rushing. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, I'm with you. They could all get 7 carries. That's totally fine to me. I don't care how many carries Theo Riddick gets. I care about how many targets he gets.
Oh, 100%. I'm saying the way
not playing blunders out.
That's the point I was about to make. I think I don't have much interest in either of them regardless right now. It's just a stay away situation. Obviously, Galladay, for good reason, is going to be wildly popular.
And I lost a fair amount of money last year with the Lions. And granted, new coaching staff, they're trying different things. But I'm still a little sore on the whole Lions rushing in general, as Amir Abdullah last year continued to be $4,000, continued to get 65, 70% of the rushing workload, and just continually get 6 points like every week. It was so frustrating.
I know. I was happy. Like I've been on Carry-On this year. I really thought that he could take over that backfield. He has, and now he gets hurt, of course.
Yeah.
Frustrating. But Galladay 6,400 it's, again, super popular. So you're talking in a 3-game slate. Ownership's already messed up. It's going to be through the roof here. It's just the amount of targets you're seeing. It's going to be sustainable. 13 2 weeks ago, 14 last week. At high ownership, you can always look to pivots. That's a given. But my God, for cash, and if you're playing cash, just plug and play.
Yeah, no? Absolutely.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, wow.
Do you think in tournaments it's a little... I personally do think that going back to the TJ Jones well is definitely a play because he's cheap. He still played a lot last week. He was still out there. And then the other thing is that these guys, Fuller and Bryce Callahan are two of the, best cornerbacks in the league. Callahan's a slot corner and is really good. We've talked a lot about how hard that is to be really good at slot corner. So he's the one, and those are Ellington and Galladay's primary matchups. So Jones, Prince and Mukamura is not exactly as stiff either. High pedigree on that dude. He's playing okay, but I don't know. He, in theory, has the softest matchup.
You're going to get a extreme discount on him because I think, just from a game log perspective, people are going to go to Ellington.
I agree.
I'm not opposed to that. I do think that Ellington in the slot is something you can do, but if TJ Jones's ownership is so distinct, it was kind of like we talked yesterday about DeMarcus Robinson and Conley. Ultimately, didn't work. But I don't see that big of difference. So if you're getting 1/5 on him, then I will certainly roll the dice here and there. I'm planning on playing actually more teams than usual, so I'll have the luxury of being able to go more specific in terms of percentages.
Yeah. Callahan really did a great job on Thielen on Sunday night, too.
Yeah, they played well. They were at home. That helps. The Bears at home, that defense really gets after it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess this is probably worth discussing then. So Bears, it's like a short week, obviously, but they also, they played at night on Sunday, and then they're playing first thing in the morning on Thursday.
Yeah, short week. Crazy short.
Very short. That could be I don't know about massive problem, but that could be a little bit of trouble for their defense, especially when they're going against an elite gunslinger.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the touchdown pass to Galladay last weekend? That was awesome, dude. That's
it was an awesome catch.
It was an even better throw. There was a 2-inch window for that to go into. That guy makes some crazy plays. He
always has.
Yeah, both sides of the ball. That's why I'm a Matt Stafford apologist, people. I'm sorry.
It's amazing. My first thought on that is it's amazing you don't like Josh Allen then. Because he's like that.
I've never seen Josh Allen, dude. He played 2 games.
You're gonna
like
awful
in both of them.
You're gonna like him when he gets some weapons. Anyway, I think for the short week, I'm more concerned. This Trubisky stuff, I wouldn't be even remotely concerned about it. But now with this hybrid week, he might not be ready to go. Even Marvin Jones too. It's these guys got to get ready for a Thursday game. The Knicks, the injuries. It's much tougher. Those 2 days, it makes a huge difference. So we'll see. Anything else from this game before we move to another pretty ugly one?
Not really. I think some of the Bears are a little bit interesting. Comes down to whether or not Trubisky's playing, because Trubisky has at least shown some signs of life lately.
He run.
I don't know about Chase Daniel. But the Bears' weapons are also, Anthony Miller's cheap. Allen Robinson is cheap for him. Trey Burton is not particularly expensive. I think you can do some damage there.
The tight ends, yeah, you're right about that. The tight ends on Detroit are going to go very overlooked. I don't see many people considering them at all.
Luke Wilson is popping in optimals right now. I don't know about Levine Toilolo. He's never really been a target guy. I think he's a good blocker. If there's no carry on and LeGarrette Blount's not good, I don't know that they're probably not going to abandon the run, but if Trubisky plays, that makes me more into Luke Wilson, if that makes sense, because I think the Bears have a better chance to get out to a lead.
This really has the makings, especially if Trubisky sits, of a really bad game from fantasy perspective. There's a chance this could be super grinded out and ugly.
Yeah, but the defense is playing short week too. Like that hurts them a lot.
Definitely, it's
where
just
every advantage is really for the offense right now.
It could be just ugly though.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of ugly, all right, we're going to the next one. We got Redskins in Dallas. Cowboys 7-point favorite, over under only 41. So that just shows kind of you got an implied total, 24-17. That's what Vegas is kind of saying. No Alex Smith, obviously. So Colt McCoy show.
I like Zeke and the Cowboys defense, and I'm ready to move on when you are.
That's it.
So, man.
I mean, this is the thing, though. God, it's going to be – I mean, we're going to have time because it's a 3-game slate, but I think we should discuss a macro approach here because just the way this 3-game slate sets up, and for good reason, the amount of people that are going to take a play or two from these first 2 games and then full-on stack that late game is going to be so incredibly massive. If you can get a line on a couple of guys where for some reason you think one of these games gets going – God, is that going to be lucrative? Because I mean, people are going to build like you just said. Like you take a Zeke, you're going to use your obviously, I'd say a gigantic percentage of defenses will come from one of these 4. Like I don't see many people use it. Maybe the Saints defense, but I still don't see that as much. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to certainly try to dig through. And maybe make some stands in a game like this, even though it's certainly from a total and Vegas perspective is clear backseat to that late game.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, I don't mind Jordan Reed too. Like he's still really cheap.
What about Colt McCoy?
He can run.
He can. Like he brings a different element to the game. I don't know how. The deep, not that Washington has like crazy weapons, but like I'm more worried about the deep threats than it could help a guy like Jordan Reed. It will help, short throws if you want to look to someone like Capri Bibbs even. If Chris Thompson is out, we have to see again.
And the rushing QB does generally open up more space for the running back himself because teams have to pay attention to both of them. So that's,
You're going to see some read option in this game, no doubt about it. Like, they will get creative with him. They're going to have to, because if they don't, they're going to get shut out. Can't fall behind quickly in that one. Yeah, Trey Quinn. That's a guy. I've seen this guy's name pop up here and there. Over the last week, he has done literally nothing. And then last week against Houston, caught all 4 of his targets, turned in a somewhat respectable game. It's just tough because Colt McCoy, we don't know what to really expect in the passing game. I think the legs are there, but someone like Trey Quinn, who is not hunting for targets, he was limited already. He could do some work in the slot, though. I don't hate it at 3,500 if you're looking to be a little different.
Yeah, he'll toss a bomb or two.
And then on the other side, you mentioned Zeke. I don't know if we really have to talk about that. He's just a very, very good play. There's one thing I saw, and I just clicked on his little drafting thing that says he intends to play. Michael Gallup's away from the team. He had a personal situation. His brother died. So we'll have to monitor that to make sure that he's back. It seems like he's going to be. So, that's nothing if he is back. But if for some reason he sits, there'll be some juggling behind Amari Cooper. Obviously, they have Cole Beasley. These are guys I really don't have strong takes on. Guys that I'm not opposed to using in the right setting. Maybe I'll get creative and roll a Dak lineup out there and hope that he decides to throw if they stack the box.
Okay.
I mean, do you think it's inconceivable? Because if I was Washington, I would sell out to stop Zeke and make him throw, obviously.
Yeah, but then Zeke's going to get his work done in the passing game. I think that's probably a good idea. I don't know that affects Zeke a whole lot. Amari Cooper is certainly in play. Josh Norman is not what he I mean, he was always like he's a zone guy, so like that's a little tough, and he has certainly shown some mental lapses over the years. So I think that it seems like Cooper and Dak are developing some chemistry. We'll see what happens there.
We had Antoine Murphy just said in chat, 100% agree. Obviously, you can roll Dak by himself. Obviously, the legs are a weapon. If you don't want to play receiver roulette or you don't like Cooper, you can pair Dak with Zeke. Of course, he's doing a lot more this year in the passing game. I expect Dallas's D to probably. I think they'll be the most popular on the slate.
Oh, I would imagine so, and they should be. There are other odds. Like the Bears D is a nice play. Like the Saints D certainly could do something. Matt Ryan's been a lot more effective indoors. So
Lions D.
Yeah, if it's Chase Daniel time, I think that's going to muddy the slate quite a bit. If Chase Daniel plays, then the Lions D will get some play, and then I'm like almost more into Dallas's D because I don't think they're going to be 60% owned as it stands now. I don't think that's the case.
It's true. I'm with you. If Chase Daniel played, I would be more into Dallas because the ownership will be down, and I think they're clearly the optimal play. And honestly, I'd be more into the Lions D if Trubisky plays because Chase Daniel, unless he's wildly ineffective or they're behind, they're not going to lean on him. Trubisky's a wild man.
Oh yeah. And he looks good. I've come around on him a little bit. I've said some nice things about Trubisky, but oh my God, he makes terrible plays.
Crazy, crazy bad plays. So I will roll the dice there for sure in that early game and hope that the Lions can do something. I think they're clearly one of the more, sneaky. You can't be sneaky on a 3-game slate, but they're closer to being sneaky than not.
Yeah, and Ziggy Ansah is healthy now for a game or two.
If that,
he's awesome. So like that's a big thing for the Lions D as well. So see how it goes. Slay certainly can make some big plays. He's another. Like I was saying, he's a good corner. He makes some big plays. I don't think he's like someone that. I guess more what I was saying is he's not good enough for me to be like, ooh, I'm scared of Allen Robinson. But he's good enough that it helps the Lions defense. He can make some big plays.
Yeah. Obviously, looking at tight end, and we're on this game. Jordan Reed is the premier option. Colt McCoy gave him some life. Found him for a touchdown, 11 targets. After all those years, all it took is 1 week. Now everyone, he had been burning everyone the whole year, and now it's hard not to like him here.
Yep. No, I mean, it's sad.
It is.
Reed's just, I've been playing him all year. And then last week, the cheapest he's been all year. It drops to the point where he was so cheap that and tight end was such a pit last week that he got to be really popular. And I was just like, I guess I'm not.
I had a little, but nothing significant.
Yeah, it's some. But I had someone. I played Thursday to Monday because I liked Gurley so much.
God.
So I had some of him there, but luckily I was playing Mahomes, Reek, and Gurley. I saved all my money for that. I thought those were heavily correlated, and Gurley stunk, but Mahomes and Reek certainly had me cashing by themselves.
These two. Again, this is just a really, really bad game. I don't like AP as much. Credit to him. He really is running well. Kept the Redskins in that game. And then, not that this is important, but if anyone was watching Red Zone, it looked like that Hopkins kick went off the upright at the end. And then they showed it again. It landed 5 feet short. I thought that he beamed a 60-yarder off the bar to lose. It was an outrageous one, but they're in trouble. They have to win. They got that in the Eagles coming up. They got to find.
Was that the one that was didn't even get into the paint?
Yeah, it wasn't even close. But when they showed it originally, I thought it hit the bar and ricocheted back.
Yeah. No, I remember
even the guy on TV said that, but
yeah, Michael, that pick to throwing into triple coverage against 5'6" Taylor Gabriel. Yep, Trubisky does stuff like that for sure. All right, favorite tight end play this week, Reed or Burton? I'll take Reed for sure. I mean, Burton I think is a little bit sneaky interesting, but for me he's the third guy after Reed and Austin Hooper personally.
I like Burton. I play him more than most. The problem with him, and we kind of saw it last week, is the Bears' offense is not tied to him in any. Like, they can be effective without him. He certainly can get involved. We've seen that. He's a red zone target here and there. But they just have a lot of guys. They've become. I like the way they're calling their plays. They're using a lot of different people, and that hurts a guy like Burton. Reed has to be involved. Like, not that they're going to be effective, but there's just nobody else. So the targets are so enticing.
Yeah. Tube socks with a Q Vernon Davis 2 TD game. Could happen. He's 2,500. He gets some targets. Like, I don't think he's a crazy play this week. Guy's fast. He's very good at breaking them. He's like one of the best athletes to ever play. Probably the best athlete ever to play tight end. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
Do you know if the Redskins line is getting any healthier? I have not seen anything on that.
I have not either. I believe Trent Williams is still not expected to play, right?
There's one guy in it that's not him that I think has a chance to come back. Okay. Either way, their line is going to be perpetually banged up and weaker. But Colt McCoy will mitigate some of that because he can move a little better. And short, quick throws, option, keep them off balance. But, man, you know that the Redskins want to shorten this game.
Do you not remember that Alex Smith did that better than anyone ever has last year? So, I'm not sure that they're just going to go to that with Colt McCoy all of a sudden because they had the personnel to do that and didn't.
That's true, but I'll say this. I feel like they thought / wanted Alex Smith to be more capable to do other things. Colt McCoy doesn't have other options. Right. Like, he doesn't have – there's no choice. It's either do that or do nothing.
Yeah.
Without Smith, they wanted him to be more efficient.
I'm with you. I think that the more what my point is like, you can do whatever you want, but it's like Andy Reid versus whatever Jay Gruden, like,
No, they're not
going to. Got a little more faith in the organizational, structure of the prior situation.
Honestly, though, it's not even just the play calling. Like Colt McCoy, Alex Smith, not super. He was kind of reluctant to run. Like, Colt McCoy is going to be running for his life, and unlike college football with DFS, where you get negative yards for sacks, you don't get that in the NFL. So if
I love that you always bring that up. Like, we're all used to getting negative yards for sacks.
People don't know that in college.
No, I don't know that. I don't care. It doesn't have anything to do with NFL DFS.
It's incredibly absurd. Anyway, you can get some yards. Go ahead.
No, that's good. I think we spent enough time on this game.
Fine.
Do you like cranberry sauce?
No. Way. That's what I was kind of alluding to when I said most overrated. I'm not a fan of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, do you have a particular... I mean, there's a subdivision here, right? There's because then if you like it, it's like, which one do you like? Do you like real cranberry sauce or the... No. There's a strong contingent of fans out there for the canned stuff.
I don't know. I'm not to be a hater, but like most Thanksgiving foods, I'm not a big fan of. I like mashed potatoes.
So egregious. Do you like stuffing?
No. I mean, it's fine, but not particular. Like sausage stuffing, I think we're having.
I did the Phil Rivers gif.
Yeah, I knew you were doing that. Just a great gif. It's all right, but I prefer like a crab cake or something from the seafood world.
We're talking about Thanksgiving food, though. Like, go back to Russia.
Why do I have to alter what I eat for Thanksgiving?
Because we're literally talking about a food with specific kind. If you were like, you know what my favorite Japanese food is?
Pizza.
Yeah, pizza. Exactly. It's like, no, dude, that's not what we eat at a Japanese food place.
It's a very, very good. I see what you did there, and that's a good point. All right. Well,
cranberry sauce is fine in limited doses, I think. It's one of those things, and I grew up, my family is not my family cooks, but they weren't exactly good cooks. I came around, I went to a different, I worked in restaurants forever, developed a bit more of appreciation for it. I think that might have been in some ways a response to how my family prepared food. My mom is one of those people who made sure any bird was dead. White chicken breast would go in the oven for 45 minutes at 500 just to make sure there's no juice there. Pretty squeamish about food. So we had the canned stuff a lot at Thanksgiving growing up. it's not as good as like the real stuff. But I don't think either. I'm kind of with you that both are sort of overrated. There is something delicious about a little tiny bit of the canned stuff on like the leftover sandwiches, though. With the dinner.
The crab cake take was a little aggressive. I'll admit that. Chat getting a little on me for that. That's fair.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm still holding strong. All right, let's get this game in. We're gonna get back to this conversation because I have more to say. Yes, we'll get to that.
All right, we got Atlanta, New Orleans.
Big spread.
Yeah.
Almost 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. New Orleans is really good.
Yeah, so I've been learning. They're buzzsaw. Yeah, so we got Saints minus 13, over under of 60.
Projected to be like 37-23. Like that's a bit aggressive.
I think so, but my God, the Saints have it's almost a formula at this point, which is score 45-ish, let the other team score about 7, and then end the game. They're in the dome again. Falcons capable offense, no doubt, but God, it's this is where you're going to get the bulk of your plays. So let's get into it.
All right. Yeah, exactly. I think you're like if we're talking sort of cash builds, it's like you're punting with guys you're punting with Lions basically, and then playing as many dudes from this game as you can.
Jordan Reed, cash?
Yeah, I think so. 4,700's starting to push it. Like I think you can. I don't know. But yeah, it's just so much safer. I mean, someone like Luke Wilson is projecting as a better value, but yeah, that's too shady.
Okay, that's where I'm at in cash for sure.
Can't wait to play several $1,000s worth of cash on the 3-game Thanksgiving Day slate. Gonna be fun. Yeah, Michael Thomas, top projection.
Obviously.
Edges out Kamara. I don't hate the Saints defense even. I mean, I really like Matt Ryan's a good quarterback. The Falcons have a good offense when they're indoors. This is not like last week against Philly, who like Carson Wentz is just not having a very good year. I don't know if he's like still hurt or what, but he's not playing that well. So I think they can put up points, but
same. I mean, this is why I try not to bet NFL. My college basketball takes a little sharper on the betting side. I would bet the Falcons in this game. I think they cover. 13 is a lot. I know the Saints are rolling, but the Falcons' offense indoors is no joke. And like you said, the Eagles, not that I'm an Eagles fan because I'm not, but they are, every week it looks more and more like a complete outlier that they just got on a magic run because they are just ineffective right now.
Yeah. I mean, their lines were amazing last year, and Carson Wentz, was a sun runner. He came back down to earth, and then the lines have been a little bit banged up.
Yeah, no, the Falcons, obviously they're familiar. These teams know each other. They play each other twice every year. This should be, I'm not going to say super competitive game, but at the same time, I think they keep it inside 13.
Yeah, I think they can score at least.
Yeah. I like Kamara, just going right to the top. I like Kamara more than Michael Thomas. This feels like a Kamara game to me.
Yeah, well, this was your big hot take in week 3 or whatever, right? When they had wasn't this his 20 target game?
It was. So this
was the first week. I think this was the first week Deion Jones was out.
So
this was also the Calvin Ridley week.
Yes, this is all very, very true. He had 20 targets, 15 catches, 124 yards. He got 37 and he had no touchdowns. So just absurd. That was, we've talked a ton on the show every week about the Deion Jones thing, and I really did think that Kamara would benefit from that. Kamara is so incredible. No one can stop him, but Deion Jones would have helped. They're going to attack in that same way. I certainly take the L on Ingram is a part of this offense, and he is very effective too. But at the same time, I'm interested to see what happens if the Saints get into a game. Not that Ingram's getting garbage time, but Kamara at the same token they seem somewhat reluctant to really go. I know he caught that long touchdown, that wheel route late in that game, but I think the volume shifts to him in a competitive game.
Okay. Yeah, we could see that happen.
I mean,
yeah, Eugene Poole, I wanted to ask about if you sign up for the NFL package, will it automatically come out of my account every week? I believe you can cancel at any time. You do get the 1 week trial. if you sign up and use our promo code from A to B. Thank you, EMAC, for reminding us. Use our promo code. We have a promo code. It's from A to B. That would be awesome if you signed up. Tube Socks objects to the Wentz playing bad take. He's actually having a better year than last. This was an anomaly game.
I'll just go
with I object. Maybe whatever you want to say about last year or this year, Wentz just isn't that good.
I'm not gonna say. I think Wentz is good. But we will see. He's not.
He's a league average quarterback. Like, he's fine, but he's not as good as
Stafford over him.
No, of course not.
Okay. We don't know what goes on with you and Stafford.
Listen, I like Stafford. I'm more of a Stafford guy from like a fantasy perspective, just because when he's on, it's absolutely nuts.
Deshaun Watson.
We have a very long, Deshaun Watson. We have a very long track record of Matthew Stafford not being a recipe for a winning football team. Carson Wentz is totally fine. He's pretty good. Like, I think, league average quarterback. But like, people were ready to put him in that, like, Phil Rivers-y, like, tier 2, and I was horribly furious about that. It's like,
I'm in that bucket. Not that he's at the bottom of tier 2.
He is not in tier 2. He does not belong with Phil Rivers. Phil Rivers is too good.
Anyway, all right. What did you make? I mean, the thing about the Saints and all these, like, it was the most impressive thing about last week. I was joking about this on Twitter. Was it seemed at the beginning of the game they just decided to use guys that I've never heard of. Like, they were pulling out, the Dan Arnolds of the world, Austin, the car, like, guys just from the abyss. Like someone like Ben Watson, who I thought was a decent sneaky guy. He always has a little upside. Oh my God. He was like non-existent in that game. What, is there a big uproar?
Yeah. People are upset about this Wednesday. Tube Socks is doubling down, like, with logic. This is like logical fallacy time now, buddy. League average, no way. He was MVP last year before injury. But he's saying that he's playing better than last year this year. He was the MVP last year because he ran like, I don't know, whatever is better than, whatever the best run is. I guess it's just run like God.
Jazz Raz.
So, yeah, runs like Jazz Raz.
That's right.
He was doing that on third down last year. He just converted every single third down, and it was wild. I don't think he can make all that many throws. We all remember the crazy one he made when he was getting pulled down, and I think that has really skewed everyone's perception of him.
We're gonna find out.
He's a league average quarterback. That's not an insult. He's pretty good.
I'm splitting the difference between you two, so I'm hedging it.
Oh, you're hedging that he's like 7 to 11.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
I mean, he might be there. I'm not like, I don't have a list of the quarterbacks in front of me. I'm just kind of hot taking whatever.
All right,
it's pretty good.
Back to this game.
I'll fight you if you think he's as good as Phil Rivers. I will fight you.
No respect to Tevin Coleman. That's what I want to talk about.
Oh my God, Tube Socks.
It's just every week. I never know what to do with this guy. Last week again, he had a middling. He's in this weird range. He had 8 carries, 3 targets. That game was kind of sloppy. Dallas. I expected a better effort from the Falcons. That was a bad loss. They needed that game. Do you like him here? Every weapon's going to get a boost because of just the game flow. This is a 60 over-under. Do you have any interest in him, or is it just like meh?
Sorry, which guy?
Tevin Coleman.
Oh, yeah. I mean, kind of. I like Tevin Coleman a lot. I've played him a lot this year. It has not gone well.
It still feels like the big game is there. I know Ito Smith gets work, but this is one where I don't know. Everyone's, as I keep saying, everyone's getting a boost with the Saints just because for the Falcons to stay in this, points are going to be half. You're just not holding this offense down when they're at home or even on the road at this point. We saw in Cincinnati. I think I'm going to use some Coleman. It's a nice price, and the results should keep ownership from really getting up there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the worry, and I think it's a valid worry, is that if the Saints just go out there and start killing them, like it's tougher game script for him. But he's still getting the old Devonta Freeman workload. He's getting 60-65% of it, and Ito's getting the other 35-40%. So yeah, at this price, the Falcons have a good offensive line. They're indoors. Saints are a good defense, but I think it's worth checking out.
Man, this Dan Arnold guy.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of people on Dan Arnold.
No, the people need us to have some Dan Arnold takes.
I really don't have any. Honestly, I have little to no interest. If that's the guy that burns me, so be it. I think there's a very real chance that he's not even involved. They have other Benjamin Watson, Josh Hill. I didn't know that he was, Anton just pointed out, maybe he's a big body. He certainly could mold into something. I'm not ready to jump on that just yet, though. Are you?
No. Okay. He played 20% of the snaps last week. Last week was weird, man. They were just, again, trying to – you had the funny tweet about just playing the all-creative player team. I'm not sure. He played 20% of the snaps. I looked it up because he's projected for 1.8 fantasy points right now. I will probably dive deeper into that. I will maybe change some things around, but I'm not sure I'm ready to go there if he's going to be, if people are going to be pretty into this.
He's not going to be non-existent ownership on a 3-game slate. He's not going to be popular, but at the same time, you're not going to take him and be one of a handful of people in a giant field tournament.
Right. And it doesn't get any cheaper than $2,500. And at this point, I'd rather play Luke Wilson or Vernon Davis, I think. I get it. It's fun to play with the guy that you don't know, and maybe he's awesome. Who knows? Maybe he's the next that next dude, but I don't really know much about him. We'll have to see where ownership shakes out too, but at the moment, I don't have a projected workload for him near any of the other tight ends.
Heath Kirkwood, 5 targets last week.
Yeah.
Didn't know he was on. These are guys that come in out of nowhere. Obviously, Traquan Smith exploded. He's a part of that offense. Yeah. We'll have to see, ownership, which we obviously have on the site, is going to be important with a guy like him because he still feels a little boomer bust to me. And we've seen that the last 2 weeks, what could be more indicative, a 0 and then a 40.
Yeah.
So he's only 4,700, though. That's going to be definitely a popular landing spot for a lot of people.
Turn around, you'll see the Phil Rivers fathead on my wall. Au contraire, Emac, you see that where my finger's pointing? It's Geno Smith bobblehead up there.
I was wondering what you were pointing to. There he is. Geno. Yep. I saw Geno taking in the experience on the sidelines of the Chargers game.
Oh yeah, he's the new Charlie Whitehurst.
Yeah, he's just chilling. He was watching Phillip Rivers do his thing. All right, let's move to Falcons receivers. Julio every week, fine in the end zone. It was great. I used him, and it didn't really even help me. I got it right, but he beat Michael Thomas. He beat Odell. Just not on the right teams, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the trouble was you just didn't really want to pay up at wide receiver at all because there were some cheap ones that got it done, and then the expensive running backs went crazy. So
that was not that we're rehashing this, but the Saquon Zeke. I was overweight on both, not enough where I paired them. That was a killer.
Yep. I had both in cash, so had an awesome cash week, but then didn't. I played way more Odell in tournaments than Saquon, and that was a killer. But
so yeah, Julio's taking back that mantle. We've seen, I think we all knew Calvin Ridley, who's still a good player, but he's just not catching through. He's come back to earth. He was talking about sun running, ridiculous, and then Sanu. Third option,
I really like Sanu.
You do?
Yeah. Okay. Calvin Ridley took advantage of the corpse of Ken Crawley before they just benched his ass for good. They got Eli Apple in there, who I don't think he's really necessarily very good either, but he's better than Ken Crawley. I think was just hurt and just played awful this year. PJ Williams is still out there, still not very good. Slot receiver, very difficult. Slot corner, which is a very difficult position. I just think Sanu's the path of least resistance for the Falcons, so I'm going to go there.
I'm with you. I like Sanu. And, this is a game, not that this is overly important, but teams have played already. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to look at that first game and glean a lot from it. Now, Sanu caught a touchdown in that game. I hope that doesn't bump the ownership too much, but this is just one. I trust him a little more than Ridley. You're right. I like that take about Crawley. Price is fine. All these guys, you're going to want a lot of – if you're building multiple teams, I don't see any reason not to take exposures on most of the weapons from this game because their points are going to be had. And what we saw last night, touchdowns, they're all over the place. People are grabbing pieces. You want exposure to these main weapons on both the Falcons and the Saints.
Yep, totally with you there.
I do. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Cause Campbell brings up a point about PJ Williams playing better the last few weeks. I think that has to do with the pass rush they've been getting, because you have to. What makes slot corner so hard is you have to hold coverage on the guy the entire time. You're not waiting for him to come to you or reading the quarterback's eyes to see where you think the route's going, or reading the player's movements to see where the route's going. It's just you have to play. You have to be on the guy the whole time. So if they're getting to the quarterback a little bit faster, that makes your job a lot easier. You can't hold in the slot for very long. So if they are doing that, I think that's probably what is helping him. But the Falcons have a pretty good offensive line. Matt Ryan's good under pressure. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think they're going to try to pick on him because I don't know where else you do it. But yeah, that whole defense has been playing really well, so it makes everyone's job a little bit easier.
Do you have a Hooper take? I know we kind of talked about him a little. Honestly, I think for me, he's behind both Burton.
You hate him.
I really am not a fan. Behind Burton and behind Reed. Reed's the safer. Burton, if I'm going to be a little sneaky, is the guy I'd rather go to. He has big games. It's just very hard to rely on a guy who has that kind of floor. And it's not like you're getting him. His price range is a little much for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And he's very up and down with the amount of targets he gets.
That's what I'm saying.
I guess for me then, it'll come down to ownership. Do you think he'll be popular this week? If he's not, then yeah, I'm going to jump all over it because he's got 12 target upside.
He's going to be popular, though.
I mean, I think Jordan Reed's going to be more popular.
Me too. But this is what I'm saying. If I'm looking straight optimal, Jordan Reed. If I'm looking sneaky, Trey Burton is going to be definitely lower owned than Hooper. So I would rather go there to really mix it up.
Okay, good argument. Sorry, I was looking up his target counts as you put that, so I heard that in the side of my head, and now you said it again, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good argument.
He falls in that weird range where it's doesn't fit my cash, what I want to do, and he doesn't fit if I'm really looking to pivot. I expect Burton to be significantly lower owned than both Reed and Hooper.
Yeah. I may have a little just because I plan on playing some Matt Ryan, though. So.
Oh, it's not out of the realm. I don't have a sliver, but if he's the second most popular tight end, and I think he will be, I'd probably come in underweight.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Robin Watson. I don't hate that, honestly.
No.
Because, any of you play Slap the Bag? More likely tomorrow night on Thanksgiving Eve. You ever play Slap the Bag?
I'm not sure. Is that with the end of the box of wine?
Yeah, where it's just unbreakable. Take a swig. Franzia. Can't break those bags.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I've seen that played before.
Anyway.
At least buy the Trader Joe's stuff, man. Franzia is bad for you. They used to have, I remember being super trashy when I was 22. We used to play Madden all the time. And we just sit around and, drink most of the weekend and play Madden, me and my friends. And we would get occasionally, especially if you're hungover, you need the wine so it'll just get to you a little bit faster than, drinking Miller Lights or PBRs all the time. It gets a little rough. So we would get, and there was the kind Almaden, which just looks like All Madden. So we would drink All Madden box wine, which is also
classy.
Yeah, shitty Franzia stuff, but good times.
So we got last words on the slate, and also I do want to quickly go back to this Thanksgiving shenanigans.
I think you lost your right to have an opinion on Thanksgiving.
No, I have an opinion.
You're
because
clearly a communist.
I have mash. I will have. So I will tell you Thursday. This is what I will have. I will have probably crab cakes. Then I'll have a lobster tail and a steak. And I'll have some mashed potatoes with it, some string beans, maybe a little like a crescent roll, something like that. But stuffing, not going to make it. Cranberry, that and sweet potatoes, get out. Not a fan at all. So you just have turkey? I'm not a big turkey guy.
Yeah, turkey's fine. I'm not in love with it, but the sides are what really shines for me. Mashed potatoes, stuffing, sweet potatoes, all these crazy carbs that are just, you load them with butter and then you drink a bunch of wine. Listen, here's why I won't play Slap the Bag on Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is a time to be goddamn classy, and I'm going to spend, I'm going to drink
Very classy.
I've also I very much less so these days, but spending a lot of years working in some pretty nice restaurants, I have a taste for the finer things. So I'm not above slumming it with some Trader Joe's boxed Shiraz, because that's at least fine. It's decent wine. But on something like Thanksgiving, I'm definitely down to drop for some $40, $50 bottles of wine and just enjoy that lit life. It's great.
If Empire Maker somehow is watching this show, he's gonna block for that statement. So thanks.
Such a poor that splurging for $40, $50 bottles of wine is the thing. My ex-wife too also is a winemaker, so we would occasionally get access to the $200 bottles of wine, which now we're blocked
again. Anyway,
what they don't make much more than that. They don't cost. They cost more than that in a restaurant because those charge you 5x.
It's all about that markup.
At a store, it's hard to find bottles of wine that are more than $200. And if they are, it's because they're really rare, which is why they're hard to find. That's why they're expensive. It's not like you can only make whatever. This is an argument for another time. You can only make something so good. So at a certain point when you're paying thousands of dollars for any kind of alcohol, it's not because it's that much better than the $80 bottle of scotch or the $60 bottle of wine or the $100 bottle of wine. It's just they made less of it. That's why it's more expensive. Supply and demand. You familiar with supply and demand, Ben?
Vaguely. I did minor in economics, but vaguely. We got some pertinent questions. Yeah, not a big no ketchup.
Do you put ketchup on your meatloaf that you eat at Thanksgiving?
Ketchup on breakfast. That's it. Not a big and French fries.
Ketchup on breakfast is actually kind of gross, dude.
What?
That's not cool.
All right, we don't have enough time to get into that. But
all day. The NHL stream doesn't start for half an hour.
What do you do for dessert? Because there's some wild accusations about fruit salad. No, I'm not a huge dessert guy in general. What I would have for dessert is probably blackout cake, some type of chocolate cake if I could choose. But
Scotch.
There you go. Macallan 18.
Yeah, I'm not the hugest I like dessert fine. I like ice cream a lot. That's delicious, but I definitely prefer
Boone's Farm
after dinner drink.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, turkey sucks. I'm with that. Very good.
Listen, turkey is not the main attraction. That's what I'm saying. It's about the sides. The sides are
okay. That's a measured take. I just prefer seafood and a good steak. Why not? I don't, like I said, I don't have.
I love seafood, but I don't go to a Japanese restaurant and order fucking pizza, man.
You don't understand. My family doesn't cook, so at the second Thanksgiving, I will go to my parents first, and then we go to my significant others, and her family is more they can really cook. I'll dabble in some of that stuff a little more. As you say, you got to keep it classy. So I'll be sweating Redskins Cowboys like a degenerate. These people are going to be wondering what the hell I'm doing.
Right.
But it is what it is. Pumpkin cheesecake. No, that's a hard no.
I could get down with that.
And a Frosty. This guy knows. I respect that.
Jack has good taste. And Jack is, the one time we met, we did share a bottle of whiskey. And almost, we stayed up too late. That was fun. But so the man has some good taste.
We do have one final football question here. Cash, right now, do you prefer Drew Brees, Trubisky, or Stafford?
It doesn't feel good, but Stafford just for the savings.
I want to say Brees, but you can't take, we're talking about just loading up on that game. I'd be much more apt to sacrifice the QB. Trubisky's a hard third, especially unless we get word that he's completely fine.
If he's totally fine, the rushing upside is there enough that I'm not mad at it for Cash, but I think Stafford's the one. He's gonna get his volume. He'll put up his,
18.
Yeah, it's really tough. That's the thing is even Brees and Brees also if I almost think Matt Ryan's a better play than Brees for Cash just because he's almost definitely going to throw. Whereas if the Saints really trash on him,
he was talking about Matt Ryan. Didn't know which Matt.
Not Matt Stafford, right?
Well, Ryan's in the mix too.
I think Ryan is probably the safest guy. It's just hard to come up with the money for it.
Yeah, you're getting 800 difference from Stafford to Ryan and 1,400 difference from Brees to Stafford. So that is pertinent.
In a Cash situation, I would definitely take Ryan over Brees. But it's more, for me, we talk about this a fair amount, but QB, because they all are going to project fairly similarly. All of these guys are projecting within 2 points of one another. 3 points of one another. Well, Colt McCoy's a distant. Never mind. You generally want to take the savings because there's Kamara, Michael Thomas, Julio Jones, Zeke. Like, you want to be playing, you can't play 4, but you want to be playing at least 2 and probably 3 of those guys in a cash setting. So it's hard to pay up at quarterback if you do that.
Yeah, I think that's where you save because that's, you're not dropping off that much. Right at the end of the show, thank you, Matt, for chiming in. Goes out for a steak on Thanksgiving. Smart guy. Go to David Burke. Go to Morton's. Get a good steak.
It's okay if you're just fading Thanksgiving entirely. I understand that. But to put a steak in with green beans and mashed potatoes, I don't know, whatever. That's fine. It's fine. Just do your thing.
I'm doing it. I respect Thanksgiving. I just, I got to stick with. It's supposed to be a day where you eat food. That's not a great meal. So it's like I want something I'm gonna really enjoy. That's all. Simple as that. You know what I'll enjoy is winning this wishbone, this giant DraftKings tournament.
Yeah, that would be lit, dude.
Yeah, it would be nice. All right. Any final thoughts here?
I think that'll about do it. If you are watching on YouTube and you don't mind giving us a like, we would love that. If you are thinking about signing up for Osmo.com, we got my projections are up for this slate behind the paywall. Ben's got articles. We got, all the boys with the NBA stuff. I do NBA projections as well. Jay Kari's NHL projections. There are articles and just about everything you could want over here. All kinds of cool stuff. So worth checking it out. Promo code from A to B.
One other quick thing, just randomly, if you're a true degenerate or for some reason you're ordering the Tiger film match, we decided to have a fun article. We put it on the site. Check it out. Just talking about some props, nothing too serious, but it is up there for people the day after Thanksgiving. They're having that fun match in Vegas. Worth checking out if you're going to be into it.
Yeah, that is in front of the paywall. So free article for the heads, just some goofy prop bets on 2 old guys playing golf against one another. Sounds like it'll be a good time.
That's the best comment of the whole thing. Did you see, chat?
What did I missed it because I was. What did you say?
Oh, that's amazing. I can't pronounce that. We're not putting that name on there, but just good.
Unabomber. No, it's a Chris Rock movie.
Oh, there you go.
Louis C.K. But
rest in peace.
First time tuning in. Great advice. The Unabomber-looking kid that hates Thanksgiving threw me for a loop.
What can you do, man?
I like it. Barry.
Win some, you lose some. As we all learned in DFS.
It's true. All right. Well, I hope everyone wins in DFS this week. It would be really fun to do so. Hope that you have a good time. Enjoy the family. If you got to get away from,
True. And last question. I do construct single entries very similar to cash. You can be a little more aggressive, but same concept.
Yeah, it's a lot of the sort of 2v2,
Yeah.
Do one weird thing.
Yep.
Cool. All right, well, have a good time.
Enjoy, everybody.
Yeah, enjoy Thanksgiving because you should. Don't eat steak and lobster on Thanksgiving. Do that on
the parting words.
That's called Thursday. That's called lunch on Tuesday for you, man. Like, why do you got to spoil Thanksgiving with that?
It's called Thursday. You're right. Thanksgiving happens to fall on Thursdays. Look at that.
This guy. All right. Bye, everyone.